recording now. And Hector, you can take it away.
Okay, so thank you much for attending this webinar. Yeah, as Johan said, we have a presentation of a very exciting product for enabling your first step in the IoT, the ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. I am Hector Garcia. I am the Kepware channel manager here in Europe. And well, let's go. First of all, let's speak a little bit about who is PTC. PTC is a software and services company founded in 1985, and we are based in Needham, near Boston, in Massachusetts, in the US. We are more than 6,000 employees, and we have more than 28,000 active customers across all industries. Okay, this is the agenda of the things I wanted to share with you today. First of all, the impact of the IoT in manufacturing. After that, I will try to explain to you a little bit of ThingWorx, the IoT platform by PTC, ThingWorx in manufacturing. After that, I will try to explain to you ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. And I will give Aaron Sunley the opportunity to show you a demo of manufacturing apps. And in the end, I will try to explain deployment, some architectures, and finally resources and the roadmap. Okay, the impact of the IoT in manufacturing. We all know that IoT can provide a lot of benefits. And one of the environments where we can find a lot of potential is in manufacturing. This potential is so high that the major world powers have created initiatives to redefine manufacturing. They are giving these initiatives different names depending on the region, but for example, in Europe, we have Industry 4.0. It's it's in Germany, but it's applicable in all Europe. In America, we have a smart manufacturing, and in China, we have Made in China 2025. Let's take a quick look at the status of adoption of the IoT. In a recent study last year by LNS Research, 75% of the respondents expected to invest in IoT in some point in the future. In another study this year by Penton Media, 46% of the manufacturers were currently evaluating and or investing in IoT pilots. These are great numbers. So we can see the great potential of the IoT in manufacturing also. Great. I hope we all know about manufacturing, but in the left, in blue colors, we have the ISA 95 model for manufacturing with the different layers, where we can see that each of the existing layers on existing systems are very complex, and sometimes they come from very different vendors. We may have PLCs from different vendors. We may have the HMI or SCADA system from a completely different vendor from the different PLCs, and so on and so on. So it is quite difficult to get a good interoperability of the systems. Apart from that, we may have modern systems mixed with old systems, and in the end, everything is quite difficult to get information from all the systems at the same time. So this results in some problems like out-of-date operational visibility. Sometimes when we get information, it's quite late, and then we don't do predictive maintenance, we do reactive maintenance. This is when the machines have already failed.
Hey, Hector, can I pause you for a moment?
Yes, of course, sure.
So, could you just hide your panel, your GoToWebinar panel there? So there's an orange arrow at the top.
I didn't know that, so let's move it away. I don't know how to do that, sorry.
There's like an orange arrow that should just allow you to collapse it.
Okay, is it better now?
Yep, thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you very much. So. No. There we go. So I was telling the difficulties or the problems that we may find in manufacturing, and yeah, this coexistence of old on diverse vendors in the different layers leads to some issues like unplanned downtime, low performance, and so on. So here is when the concept of IoT could help us. The concept of behind IoT is wrap and extend. This is the idea of wrap what you already have and extend the capabilities of what you already have, meaning that, okay, you already have your systems, you already have your SCADA system, your MES, and whatever you may have in your plants, and we don't propose to remove everything, to throw everything away. No, that's not the idea. The idea of IoT and industrial IoT is to use your existing systems and add some more capabilities. This is what industrial IoT can do for us. So as a result, we could get some real-time operational visibility, predictive maintenance in opposition to reactive maintenance. So we could be able to foresee when we are going to have some failures in our assets. Of course, we will increase in flexibility, efficiency, and safety, of course. So let's have a look at a more concrete example. Here we have an injection molding machine with a PLC controlling the machine with an OPC server on top of that, serving data into different systems like HMIs, historians, MES, or whatever we may have on top of that. Okay, we are already connected to the PLC, but what happens if, for example, the maintenance engineer wants to know the status of the system, but he is not next to the machine, or maybe he's not even in the site, in the factory? We may want to make him aware if we are having some issues, or maybe the machine is still working, but it's not 100% performant. So I don't know, we may have, for example, an hydraulic cylinder that it's starting to fail. It's taking too long for the movements to do the molding. And we have the PLC connected to the machine, but it's not getting data from the cylinder. So this is where IoT can help us a little bit. For example, we could add some wireless sensors with a very simple logic, just to time how long it takes to expand and contract the cylinder, or any other element in our asset, in our machine, and then send this data directly to the cloud. Of course, at the same time, we must remember that we already have our systems up and running, monitoring and supervising the machine. So we could get also information from the OPC server, from the historian, and so on, and mix all this information in an IoT platform, and then put all this information together, real-time information and also historical data, so that we could build a dashboard and apply some analytics so that we could even know what's the ideal behavior of my machine, and my sensors, my cylinders, and my everything. And then I could be able to analyze and get some information when the machine is not running in the ideal conditions. So with a very simple dashboard that could be accessible from anywhere, wherever the maintenance engineer is, if he is next to the machine or if he is far away. Okay, ThingWorx in manufacturing. ThingWorx is PTC's IoT platform, and it can do many things. Let's start from the data sources. We could get, for ThingWorx, we could ingest data coming from the industrial environment, of course, using Kepware EX for industrial data, but we could also get information from other business or IT systems. Once we have the data itself is useless, or unless you can contextualize it. You must convert those data into useful information, and contextualization can be given by other systems in our company, such as, for example, the SCADA system or the enterprise ERP or whatever is needed. After that, you may want to synthesize. The idea is to analyze the information to get the corresponding conclusions. For example, you could get information of the real-time behavior of some assets, compare it with some historical behavior of those assets, and be able to get the conclusion that your assets or some machine is near to failure, for example. Of course, on top of that, we may have to orchestrate or to write back to our systems and engage our users. This is to show our users what is going on in the systems. We can do it in a traditional way, like a PC or laptop or a smartphone or something like that, or through some new ways that IoT can give us, such as augmented reality or virtual reality. This is what ThingWorx platform can offer. It's quite a lot. Manufacturing apps is just a limited edition of what we can do. But of course, manufacturing apps can be unlocked to get all this for us. So let's see a use case. We have many use cases, but this is one that I like. Is Hirotech. Hirotech is a tier 1 supplier for automotive industry. They were very interested in being able to reduce downtime and to eliminate reactive maintenance. So they decided to start an IoT project to apply some analytics to their plant near Detroit in the US. They started with their critical CNC machines. And one of the biggest challenges they found was that they had a very diverse types of CNC machines. Some of them were new with Ethernet, so it was quite easy to integrate with other higher level systems, but some of them were quite old, legacy, without any kind of Ethernet capability. So Hirotech started to look in the market for different options, and in the end they found Kepware as a software to unify the data coming from the different types of machines, and then unify all those data into an IoT. They were looking for some traditional IoT offerings coming from some traditional industrial automation vendors, but they found that many solutions were restricted to a single business aspect. So they decided to give ThingWorx an opportunity and Kepware for the data gathering. So what they did was apply some analytics to their IoT solution, and in around 6 weeks, they were able to get some benefits, such as the ones that we can see here. For me, the one that is most amazing is that the capability to predict failures in their machines with 24 hours in advance. It means that 91% of the times that a machine was going to go to failure, to stop, then the maintenance engineers were able to have 24 hours. It means 1 day to react and to do everything that was needed, not to let that machine stop. So, of course, that leads to the reduction in the unplanned downtime, around 10 to 20%. It leads to improvement in productivity between 5 to 8%. That may mean, in the case of Hirotech, it means quite a lot amount of money. That's a great added value of ThingWorx in this company. And of course, they increased their OEE, their overall equipment effectiveness. Great, that's awesome. ThingWorx is a really amazing platform that can do many, many, many things for you. But the first question that you may have in your mind is, okay, where do I start? We do have the answer for that. The answer is ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. Okay, ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps are an out-of-the-box low bar of entry to help you understand the IoT ecosystem and let you understand how you can benefit from IoT. They are based on ThingWorx IoT platform, and they are placed on top of the communications layer. This is on top of Kepware instances or other OPC servers. It's fast to deploy. You may have your IoT solution started in your factory in less than 1 hour, in less than 60 minutes. That's really fast to deploy, fast to configure. It's quite important to know that you don't need programming skills, because manufacturing apps is not about programming, it's about configuration. You just add your data sources. This is your connection to the Kepware instances that you may have in your sites. Add some assets, configure those assets, define what is an alarm, what is not an alarm, and so on, and then everything is configured. You don't have to program anything. Quite important to note is that manufacturing apps is role-based. This means that each of the apps that we are going to explain in the next slide, each of these apps are focused on the different needs of each role of the team you may have in your factories. It's flexible to evolve. As I said, it's built on top of ThingWorx and easy to try and buy. You can download manufacturing apps for free. It will run for free. You can play with it. You can experience it. You can test it. You don't have to pay anything for that. And then if you want to unlock some of the capabilities that ThingWorx can offer you, then you can buy the corresponding license. Great. So manufacturing apps are a set of 3 role-based apps that can be, as I said, installed and configured in less than 1 hour. They are 100% web-enabled, meaning that you only need a web browser, any web browser running in any machine that can run a web browser. It will provide you with real-time data coming from the Kepware instances and other OPC servers. So with this real-time data, you will proactively and quickly make decisions. We have 3 roles. We have defined by now 3 roles: the plant manager, who will use the ThingWorx production advisor, the maintenance engineer, who will use ThingWorx asset advisor, and the controls engineer, who will use the ThingWorx controls advisors. The controls advisors will help you to very easily monitor the status of all your Kepware instances. If you have 1 or more Kepware instance and you want to get instant notification of if the communication with your Kepware instances is running okay or not, or you may have information about how many devices you have connected. You can even have access to the tags from the Kepware instances to trend in the trends. The second app is the ThingWorx Asset Advisor. With it, you can unify disparate data coming from disparate data sources, and then model your assets or your lines with the information coming from the Kepware instances. It provides anomaly detection. Basically, you can define the ideal behavior of your asset, and if there is a deviation of this ideal behavior, you will receive an instant notification, and then you can use the dashboards to look at the asset advisor to see what's going on. So you can act before the asset stops, and then you reduce the unplanned downtime. And the third app is the ThingWorx Production Advisor. By the way, I'm going very fast on this because in the demo, Aaron will give you much deeper details of these 3 apps on what you can do with them and how you can use them. So I was saying the Production Advisor, you can use it to view, to have a holistic view of your KPIs in your site or in a line or in an asset, being those KPIs, the key performance indicators, for example, the quality, the availability, performance, and the OEE of your assets. You can combine real-time data coming, of course, from Kepware. You can combine that data with the historical data so that you can easily find the root cause of any inefficiency. If you have any asset, any machine that's not running 100%, then you can go to the dashboard of that asset, and then you can drill down into that asset and to be able to analyze what is happening to that asset. So, and one of the great things is that manufacturing apps is 100% free. You don't have to pay anything. You can download it right now and start using it. It is an out-of-the-box apps. So everything is configured for you, in the meaning that you can start adding your connections to your Kepware instances. You can add your users and assigning them the corresponding roles, and you can add your assets. And when you have done so, in less than 1 hour, you will be able to run it and get the benefits of seeing what's going on in your plant. It's 100% free. You only pay if you want to customize your apps, and if you want to unlock some of the capabilities of the ThingWorx platform. ThingWorx is very powerful. ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps is a limited edition of ThingWorx platform. So if you want to unlock all or at least one of the capabilities, you will have to pay for that, but you don't have to pay for the manufacturing apps. You can start right now, and you can download from the link. I'll let you know that we will send you the PDF of this presentation, so you will be able to click on the link and you will be able to download the manufacturing apps, install it, configure it, and in less than 60 minutes you will be receiving information from your plant. Okay, and I think that the best way to see what's possible to do with the manufacturing apps is to see a demo that it will be done by Aaron Sembley. Aaron, are you there?
I am here, Hector. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So,
all right, I've switched Aaron over to be the presenter. So, Aaron, when you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, let me know, Joanne, when you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, good. Well, I guess it's afternoon now, so I'm in London at a conference. I'm actually standing in a stairwell trying to find a quiet place to do this presentation. So I apologize if there's any background noise, but we should be good. So yeah, so what you can see on the screen now are the actual landing page of the ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. And like Hector was saying, these are really, we have hundreds of customers using ThingWorx in the factory, and we took some of the use cases that are most common and we created out-of-the-box apps for those to get you 80% of the way there. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing the 3 apps, the core apps, we call them Controls Advisor, Asset Advisor, and Production Advisor, and then alert monitoring, trending, and some configuration. I'll show you what's in these different boxes as part of the demo. So we'll start with Controls Advisor. So that's really, and I pre-opened some of these because I'm on a slow network, so I don't want it to take too much time. But this is, if you click Controls Advisor, this is what it looks like. And the purpose of this app is to connect to all your Kepware servers. And to do that, if you're connecting to Kepware 6.2 or newer, you essentially just hit the Add button, name your Kep server, and then we'll come up with some configuration options that you'll actually copy into the Kepware configuration. So really, it's just the host, port, an application key for security. And then you'll hit OK, and what will happen is that server will appear in this list, and it will be connected to ThingWorx. This will connect Kepware to ThingWorx. So you can see here I have one Kepware server that's actually connected, that's running some simulation data. And everything looks pretty good. It looks like we had one alert on that server, and if we click this and jump in quick to see what that is, I believe it'll be a tag alert that shows that the tag count on that server, so the number of reference tags is greater than 500 was the alarm. It's actually 700. So that's one example of, if you don't expect a lot of load, a lot of tags being referenced on a Kepware server, you can set an alarm and see that very quickly in that dashboard view. But the main purpose of this app is to monitor the device connectivity. So all the PLCs that Kepware is connected to. So if we drill down into this server, we can see some metadata on the client count and the tag count information. But most importantly, we can see this device list. So this server has 24 devices. This is all simulated data using the Kepware simulator. But when this loads, you'll see all the devices in the list, and they all look green, so they're all well connected. But essentially, if one of these devices were to drop offline for any reason, a network issue, etc., the controls engineer will get a text or email notification. So that's very useful for them, especially with customers with large Kepware deployments, because when that happens, which is maybe once a week kind of thing in terms of frequency, they're instantly notified. Versus today, an operator or someone has to call them up and say, hey, I'm not seeing data in the SQL database or in the HMI. So it's a faster way for them to figure out that something's wrong. And you'll see us enhance this application in future versions where we let you do more troubleshooting. Today you can actually see the Kepware event log in that application too, so you can look if there was a device connectivity error, what that error was, etc. So that's the Controls Advisor app. So if we jump over and look at Production Advisor next, so Production Advisor is for the supervisor or plant manager, and I have to apologize because none of the data in this is actually valid. I was hoping, we're at a show here in London, I was hoping to hook this into a physical robot demo that we have down on the show floor, but unfortunately they needed it for something else, so I had to spin up an instance of this quick, and it hasn't had time to run to show valid data. But essentially what you're seeing here is you're seeing all the lines and assets in a manufacturing plant that we've defined, and you're seeing an OEE calculation for each one of those. So we're calculating OEE at the asset level, and then we roll that up to the line level. And I'll show you how this is configured after I kind of show you the functionality of the apps. But essentially there's a availability metric, quality metric, and performance, and then that rolls into an overall OEE number. And also if there's any alarms on the asset or machine, you can see those. Like most of the apps, you can drill down. So if I can look at the info on the line, and that'll load a page that shows, it could show a graphic of the line, but it'll show you the overall equipment effectiveness, as well as history. So you can go back and look at over the last few hours, how has the OEE been trending in the individual metrics, and then more status history, and then a pie chart of the same data. So these are different widgets that you can get out of ThingWorx, where we're showing the state of the machine, or the state of the line, and then the OEE data. So the third one I'll show you is Asset Advisor, and then I'll show you how this is configured. So Asset Advisor is more for the maintenance engineer, maintenance group. It's using the same data set that you saw in Production Advisor in terms of line and assets, but it's just showing you the assets and showing you specifically the status of the assets. So you can see here we have a bunch of simulated assets that we have on the factory floor. On the right hand, you see the state of those assets. So they're all in planned downtime right now because the simulated data isn't running. You can see alerts on the assets, and then there's some information on anomaly detection. And on the left here, we have a quick way to filter. So if I wanted to see, apparently I have one asset that's not configured, so I was probably just playing around with something and didn't finish the configuration. That shows up, or I can look at stuff that's in planned downtime. So just a quick way to filter through the different types of assets to look at, which ones are running versus not. And then any individual asset, I apologize, that's loading. This is actually pretty quick, but I'm on a hotel network with a bunch of people on it as well, so it's a little slow. But you can drill into the actual asset, and you can look at, again, more detailed information on status over time. So I can look over the past 7 days, what has the status of the machine been in this kind of bar graph. So how much has it been running versus in planned downtime states, in the summary for the week, and then I have a sliding chart so I can look at over the past 24 hours. So some more widgets to drill down to that data. In here, another feature we have is we call it anomaly detection. And unfortunately, I don't have it configured here, but essentially you can define, oh, here you go. I lied, I guess I do. What we're doing is we're taking a tag value, so property off of that asset, and we're looking at the signal over time. And then I have it disabled here, but if you hit the calibrate button, what it'll do, it'll take a window of this and say this is the normal operating range of that signal. So it's not just looking at amplitudes, it's using actually machine learning to figure out frequencies and linear regression. How does this signal look? And then if that signal deviates over time, it'll generate an alarm and tell you, hey, this doesn't quite look right. So it's kind of I think of it as automatic thresholding, automatic alarm detection. on signals, and we put it in here more as the ability, a simple ability for customers in this free version to start to play with it and kind of get their heads around it. There's documentation around that. And then additional properties, these are just, I have none defined, but these are KPIs for this asset if I wanted to define them. So let me jump quick, go back to the console. I want to show you quick how those are configured, specifically the asset model. So in here we have some configuration around text and email configurations. You can set up an email server or Twilio that we use for texting. User accounts, so you can go create user accounts and passwords and send those to individuals so they can log in. And in there you can control what applications they actually have access to. So if you only want someone to be able to see the asset advisor, you can assign them the maintenance role. But for this demo, just to be brief, I want to show you what the configuration looks like for lines and assets. So this is a pre-built configuration for lines and assets, and we're actually reworking this UI to be a little more intuitive. But right now it's just a flat list, and you can see the type, line, or asset. And you can add a new one, right? So I could go and create something from scratch, assign it line, asset, or site. So that's the hierarchy that we have, and give it a name. But for the purposes of this, let's just edit one that we already have, so you can kind of see what that looks like. So in here, I can give the asset a name, an image, summary information, so model number, serial number, etc. The site name, so I can assign it that hierarchy so it shows up under the right line or site. And then we have some simple scheduling for the OE calculations, like when does the shift start versus the duration of the shift, and that calculation time of the actual OE. In most cases, you'd want to set this, the calculation period to the actual shift length makes the most sense. But in any case, you have some granularity around how often you want to calculate the OE metrics. But more important is the status. This is really what I want to show you. So we have different statuses of the machine, from warning, running, planned downtime, unplanned downtime. And the way you actually configure this is you set up an expression. So this is configured serially, so it's going to evaluate the expression down the list, and the first one that becomes true, that'll be the status of the machine. So you can see here in the warning state, we're using tags from Kepware to define when it's in this state. So when this tag, simulator line group 1, syncing EDM machines online is equal to false, and this other tag is equal to true, that means we're in the warning state. And when you build these expressions out, we have a tag browser, which is pretty similar to what you'd see in an HMI or SCADA system. You pick KepServerEX as your data source, pick the server, and then you have access to the tag hierarchy in Kepware. And then you can browse down and find any specific tag that you want to include in the expression. And then additional properties, these are the other KPIs, so I can define properties for that machine. As you can see, I have voltage, temperature, currents. This just puts a name and alias on the Kepware tag and makes it available as part of this asset model in ThingWorx. And then performance metrics, this is where we set the OEE configuration. So you have some settings up here to control what percentage is yellow versus red, so how you want that to appear in the UI. And then down bottom is really where you set the tags or expressions that you want to use to calculate, what is the good count for that machine or that line? What's the total count? What's your ideal run rate? And there's information in the help on what these kind of mean and how that's calculated. Lastly is just alerts. So I can take any of the properties, additional properties I've defined for the machine, and I can create alerts around them. So you can see I have an overheating alert if the temperature, probably in Celsius, is greater than 40. It'll show you the current value. Let me log out of Skype. Steve's a great guy. He's in tech support, but right now I'll reach back out to him. So that's the configuration of the lines and assets. I think the last part I want to show you is just some cool tools. If we jump back to the console, so you can navigate from up here. We have a trending tool and the alerting tool, which they're generic but fairly useful. A lot of customers, when they first use it, I think they pull up the trending tool because it's pretty easy to see and get working once you connect to Kepware. But essentially, this is a way to once this loads up, it's a way to create a trend and add a Kepware tag and be able to trend that tag data for up to 7 days. And then it's a rolling buffer, so it'll delete the old data. It's not meant to be an historian, just a quick troubleshooting tool. So I have 2 trends here. If I edit one that let me go view one that I have, and you'll see. So I have four pens on this trend. You can see one of them is the system time. and the other one is a simulated data signal. It's actually a sine wave if I zoomed in. But it's as easy as, you know, going into that browser, just like I did in the expression, selecting a Kepware tag, and then hitting OK, and then that tag will start to be trended and stored. And then the trend chart itself has some, you know, the ability to hide and show trends and zoom in, zoom out, etc. So that's a pretty cool tool for demoing or even use and troubleshooting. And then the last one is just the alerting. So there's one of the apps is an alert monitor. So that'll just show you alerts that are assigned to you, and those appear in the general UI as well. But you can go into administration and configuration and create custom alerts, like the one that we saw for the tag count on the Kepware server in the very beginning. And essentially, when I get this up, it'll show you that I can go pick a tag in Kepware. I can then pick an expression, so above, below, equal to, not equal to, and create an alert around that. And then from that alert, I can define who receives it when it goes off. So you can see here we have a bunch of out-of-the-box alerts that we create on the Kepware error states. And then here's just the tag picker, so I'll just show you quick. Just go down and grab system tag. The date is a day. That one doesn't make a lot of sense, but we'll just pick that to be quick here. So equal to, not equal to, above and below. Let's just say 5. You can give it a description. And then recipients. I don't know if I have anybody defined on here, but if I did, they would show up and I could add them, and it would show their name here with an email and mobile number, and they would receive that notification when it went off, kind of thing. And then if I wanted to view those in the app, I'd go back to alert monitoring, and this would show me based on my account or at the system level all the alerts in the system that are currently enabled or going off, and then the history of alerts, so I can look back at what alerts had previously been active. But that's the out-of-the-box apps that we provide today. I think Hector's going to talk a little bit about how we're going to enhance those. See that attack count alert is still going off. One of the big selling factors is these apps are free out of the box. You can use them as is. Just as a quick example, this is an example of a customization. So this is a paid-for feature where what you would do is you would unlock the power of what we call the ThingWorx platform to take the same line and machine information and then view it in a different way. So this is just a quick example mashup we built in minutes. That's like a plant layout, and then it's showing those assets and lines, graphically, and then showing some KPIs, showing the OE KPIs around that. So you can't do this in the free version. There's a dev kit where you can try this stuff out. But essentially, this is what when you go to buy, this is what you're doing. You're buying the ability to customize the apps and view the data in different ways, and do analytics and AR and everything on top of it as well. So with that, I think I'll hand it back to Hector, and then I'm available at the end for any questions.
Okay, Aaron, thank you very much. It was really interesting demo. So,
okay. Great. I don't see any questions coming through. Thanks for the demo, Aaron. Hector, I'm going to go ahead and pass presenter rights back over to you.
Okay.
And yeah, we can go ahead and continue.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we should see how to deploy these manufacturing apps, what the different architectures can look like. So first of all, ThingWorx can run in the cloud or on premise, and so can ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. So we may find different deployment views, one of them being on the cloud in a very robust system, and you may have a server running ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps, and you will have one or more Kepware X instances connected to this ThingWorx platform. There is a very secure connection between Kepware X and ThingWorx. It is called Always On, and it is a protocol developed by PTC for ThingWorx, and it is included by default in Kepware X version 6.2 or higher. So it means that if you have Kepware X 6.2 or 6.3, which is the latest version, you will have no problem ingesting data coming from the devices into the ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps running in the cloud. The second option is that you want to run ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps in the cloud, but you don't have Kepware EX version 6.2, or you may have an older version of Kepware EX or a third-party OPC server, and then you will need to use an instance of Kepware EX 6.2 or higher on-premise, and use it as a bridge between the OPC servers or the older version of Kepware EX, as a bridge between them and the ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps. And the third option is to use ThingWorx Manufacturing Apps on-premise. This is if you prefer to install everything in-house, and then you will use Kepware EX. If you have Kepware EX on-premise, version 6.2 or 6.3, to communicate directly with your devices or your data sources, or as a bridge from other OPC servers, third-party OPC servers, or older version of Kepware EX. Great. So some resources and next steps. So we do have a lot of material that you can use to learn about the manufacturing apps. We have many tutorials, many user guides, many training videos on how to install and configure the apps, or how to connect to Kepware EX or other OPC servers, or how to customize the apps. As you saw in Aaron's demo, you can add, this is not for free, but you can customize your apps, and you can add new dashboards, new mass apps, and this is an example of that. So we have a lot of documentation on that. We have promotional videos, a lot of information focused on Kepware users. So that's very comfortable for you. So and some links that we have, I remind you that we will send you the PDF, so you will have all the list of links. You can download right now manufacturing apps and start downloading and installing it. You only have to register. It is for free. You have to register and you can download everything for free. We have a community, a ThingWorx community, where you can post your issues or your questions, and in this community you will receive some answers to your questions. We also have some video tutorials about ThingWorx manufacturing apps, what you can do, what you can learn, and we also have some other ThingWorx and IoT information in the IoT University. This is in the IoTU.com webpage and so on. And in ThingWorx, we have a marketplace where you will be able to find some applications that are already developed for you, and you can use them. Some of them have been developed in-house. They have been developed by PTC, but some others have been developed by partners, and you can also upload your applications or promote your applications in the marketplace. Just as a summary, I would say that the apps, the manufacturing apps, are really powerful, and I think that they are a very easy and great place to start using your IoT approach, your IoT solutions. We have tried to make them very easy to try so that you can test if it is suitable for you, if you are comfortable with them, if it is the perfect solution for you, and then you may buy according to your needs. We have several licensing tiers to unlock some limitations that the manufacturing apps may have, but ThingWorx does not have. And then with all these multiple licensing tiers, we are sure we will be able to match your needs. And of course, we have a lot of information. Let's see something that one of the things I wanted to highlight is that manufacturing apps are new, but ThingWorx is not new. It is being used in more than 500 factories. But yes, manufacturing apps are new, and we love to receive some feedback from you. We love to hear what you miss in the manufacturing apps. So they are for free. You can test them for free. And right now we are offering free help and services to early customers just to make sure that you succeed in your tests. Yes, regarding the roadmap, we are planning to add some more connectors. I'll see PyHistorian for historical data and also for some national instruments elements. And we are planning to add 2 new apps, the operator work instructions. It's basically, it is an additional application to help the operators. This is a different role, the operator, to help them to follow the correct steps when performing a task. And we are also planning to add the capability to configure Kepware instances from the manufacturing apps. Basically, nowadays, you have to configure manufacturing apps from any web browser and Kepware with different user interface for each of the Kepware instances. And we are planning to add the capability to configure all the Kepware instances from one single point, and this is the manufacturing apps. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much. I don't know if there are any questions. Joan, can you help me?
Yes, certainly. So if there's any questions, feel free to enter in their questions pane. I don't see any coming through Hector right now. But keep in mind, Hector gave you a bunch of great resources there, and you can always contact us, sales@kepware.com, training@kepware.com, if you do have questions once you start using the ThingWorx apps. We do have dedicated technical support and sales apps engineers, resources like Hector himself that can help you out configuring them. So great job, Hector. I think we're going to end the webinar there. But thank you, Hector and Aaron, for joining. And like we said at the beginning of the webinar, we'll send out the recording and the slides to this in a couple days.
Okay, so thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.